Hello, my name is Pamela Kuther, and I am an instructional specialist for secondary mathematics with Richmond Public Schools. Welcome to the Richmond Public Schools Distance Learning Modules. In this series, we will learn geometry, where we will focus on a different standard each week. This week, we will focus on SOL G.8a, the Pythagorean theorem. Today, we will focus on the parts of the right triangle, the Pythagorean theorem formula, and how to find the hypotenuse given the measure of both legs. Before we get started, you will need a few supplies. Your interactive notebook, if you use that in your math class, or a few sheets of paper, a pencil, and the Desmos calculator, which you can open up as an app on your phone or other mobile device, or simply click the link in the presentation. Before we learn our skill for today, we need to familiarize ourselves with a few vocabulary terms. Please copy the vocabulary term, illustrations, and definitions into your notebook. There is a definition link next to a few of the terms. We will pause to give you time to copy the information. The Pythagorean theorem is the relationship between the sides of a right triangle. The formula to the left, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, is that relationship. C, the slanted side, is always the hypotenuse. A and B are the legs. Now we are ready to look at the instructional video, which will explain our skill for today. Before we start, please open the notes. Copy the notes and fill in the blanks as you watch the video. The video is also linked in the presentation. Now that you've learned our skill for today, we will look at some model examples. Please copy and complete the examples in your notebook. Also, feel free to jot down any information that's said throughout the explanation. Model example number 1. Nick jogs once around the triangular path shown. About how far does he jog? When you see the word about in your problem, that's a clue that your answer will not be a whole number. It will be a decimal that you will need to approximate. Here in our example, we have 200 and 300, which are the legs. Those sides form the right angle. Just as in our instructional video, it does not matter if you plug the 200 in for A or B, as well as the 300, as long as they're in there for A and B, because those are the legs. C is the slanted side that we want, which is the hypotenuse. So you plug in 200 for A and 300 for B. The next step would be to square those numbers. 200 squared is 40,000. 300 squared is 90,000. The next step would be to add those numbers, which would give you 130,000. The last step would be to find the square root on both sides, which is going to get rid of our squared that's on our C, and our answer will be C is approximately 360.56 meters. That wavy equal sign is the symbol for approximate. Let's look at model example number 2. Here we have a word problem. 2 joggers run 8 miles north, then 5 miles west. What is the shortest distance to the nearest tenth of a mile they must travel to return to their starting point? When you see the phrase nearest tenth, that again tells you that you will need to round your answer. So in my picture below, you will see the 2 joggers that are running 8 miles north and running 5 miles then west. The shortest distance would be the hypotenuse. That would be from the point they started to the end point. So I start by writing my formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I plug in 8 and 5 for my legs because they form that 90-degree angle. 8 squared is 64. 5 squared is 25. My next step would be to add those numbers, and that is where I get the 89. My last step would be to find the square root on both sides, and that would give me C is approximately 9.4 miles. Now, let's see if you can try one on your own. If you have trouble with this problem, please refer to the hint at the top of the slide. Let's now look at the solution. Notice the first thing we always do is write down our formula, plug in our sides, which in this case we have A and B, square the sides. 18 squared is 324, and 24 squared is 576. And then we add those numbers, which gives us 900. Last step would be to find the square root, and that gives us C equals 30. Let's look at another problem. Notice here that we have a word problem, but the illustration is drawn for you. Let's take some time for you to attempt this problem. Here we have Moesha, who's a college student, and she needs to walk from her dorm to her math class. Her normal route is 500 meters from her dorm and then 600 meters from that point to her math class. How many meters long is Moesha's shortcut? The next question says, how much shorter is the shortcut than Moesha's usual route? Let's look at the solution. So the shortcut is 781.02 meters. How much shorter is the shortcut than Moesha's usual route tells us that we need to subtract. Her usual route is 500 meters plus 600 meters, that's 1100 meters. We're going to subtract from that the shortcut. That gives us a distance of 318.98 meters. This concludes our lesson for today. During your remaining work time, please complete the practice problems and the online practice. The answers for today's practice problems will be in tomorrow's module. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.